AOC had no idea what she was walking into. What she thought would be just another stage for fights quickly turned into a reality check, exposing cracks in her polished image and leaving her far less in control than she.
Colleagues say that opening more of our federal lands to fossil fuel development is what their constituents want and need. I'm not here to dispute that point in this moment.
Cortez tried to slip a loaded amendment into legislation under review, but Matt Rosennale swiftly pushed back, exposing the performative nature of her activism. His challenge underscored the kind of tactics often used to score political points rather than deliver meaningful results. And the exchange quickly drew attention from both lawmakers and the public, igniting debate over transparency in the legislative process.
How about if we allow forest management practices that would prevent millions of acres from burning each year, absolutely ruining air, land, and water.
What if we embraced forest management strategies capable of preventing millions of acres from going up in flames each year, devastating the quality of our air, land, and water? That's exactly why we're addressing every angle today, not to show blind loyalty to political parties, but to insist on practical solutions. Our focus is responsibility, prevention, and long-term sustainability. And at the core of it all, we're standing up for common-sense approaches that protect both people and.
I want to acknowledge that after a long history of various individuals in the body denying the existence of climate change, I do want to say that it's very encouraging to see that there is some acknowledgement of the climate crisis here in the report. So I'm proposing an amendment that would require the collection of public health data and other impacts of new drilling on federal land.
No one is denying that climate change is real. It's a firmly established fact. The real concern is with the heavy-handed measures governments have adopted in response. The meeting in question, held in February 2023 as the Committee on Natural Resources reviewed its authorization and oversight plan, sharply criticized the Biden administration's approach to environmental policy. The discussion highlighted deep divisions over how to tackle climate challenges while balancing economic and social impacts, and it exposed the growing tension between urgent action and measured, practical.
Colleagues say that opening more of our federal lands to fossil fuel development is what their constituents want and need. I'm not here to dispute that point in this moment, but I will say that surely if that is the case, then there should be no objection to gathering better data on the health impact of these policies on the health and safety of everyday Americans. So I truly believe this is a common sense amendment that would help protect and inform the American people, especially the most vulnerable among us. And I urge my colleagues to support the amendment, and I yield.
That's why AOC attempted to slip in a loaded amendment packed with climate buzzwords, including language claiming that the burdens of fossil fuel extraction fall disproportionately on communities of color, low-income neighborhoods, and indigenous groups. Matt Rosennale refused to let it slide, firmly pushing back and making his objections clear. His response underscored what he saw as politicized framing rather than practical policymaking, and the exchange highlighted the sharp divide over how environmental issues are debated in Congress.
You ignore that emissions have actually gone up during this administration. How can you ignore the millions of people around the earth that have had clean water, indoor plumbing, lights, electricity provided to them, making their lives better, literally extending their lifespan, lifting them out of poverty by having access to electricity that's been provided by coal, oil, gas, or other fossil fuels? It simply can't be ignored. Their lives are better, their lives are longer as a direct result of that. So to sit there and say that we should be trying to eliminate these fuels is absolutely absurd, ridiculous.
He's absolutely right. Biden's energy policy could serve as a textbook example of what not to do in public policy. From day one, he launched an war on fossil fuels, flooding the system with executive orders that blocked both onshore and offshore drilling. That single decision helped drive up energy costs, leaving everyday Americans to shoulder the burden. The ripple effects have strained household budgets, fueled heated debates over energy independence, and raised serious questions about how to balance environmental goals with economic realities.
By this administration to shut down our domestic energy production is causing prices to escalate, forcing Montanans to make difficult decisions about heating their homes or simply putting food on their table.
But that wasn't the end of it. On the renewable energy front, Biden promised a sweeping transformation yet delivered little more than disappointment. In February 2022, the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Formula Program was unveiled, boasting $5 billion to build 500,000 public EV charging stations by 2030. On paper, it sounded ambitious and inspiring. But by June of this year, the program had managed to produce only 56 operational stations nationwide. This massive shortfall redefined overpromising and while casting serious doubt on the administration's ability to carry out its own energy transition goals.
Fortunately, my colleagues across the aisle have been extremely selective about when they would like to use science-based information. How about if we start using science-based information about managing the population of grizzly bears in the state of Montana, which populations are at 300% and 400% of the target populations, so that we can delist these animals.
One would think that politicians who brand themselves as climate activists would make forest protection a top priority, given that healthy forests are among the strongest defenses against climate change. Yet in practice, many have done the opposite, with California standing as a prime example. Countless studies have shown that proper forest management can dramatically reduce the spread and severity of wildfires, but layers of red tape and endless bureaucratic delays have kept meaningful action stalled year after year. The consequence has been devastating wildfire seasons that could have been mitigated with proactive measures.
If we allow forest management practices that would prevent millions of acres from burning each year, absolutely ruining air, land, and water quality across the state, across the nation, and start using some best management practices on how to take care of those forests, which would not only help keep our air, land, and water clean, but it would also help the economy, provide jobs, and be better for everyone who's connected with it. For all of those reasons, I will be opposing this amendment. Thank you very much.
Even the U.S. Forest Service warned in a 2022 report that 73 million acres of national forests are at risk from severe wildfires threatening both human safety and ecosystem integrity, noting that its ability to respond is hamstrung by statutory, regulatory, and administrative barriers that prevent timely action as forest health rapidly declines. In that same meeting, Tom Tiffany posed a simple but pointed question that exposed just how unprepared AOC was to defend her amendment, underscoring the gap between political posturing and genuine understanding of the issue. The exchange highlighted the urgent need for practical solutions over performative.
I'm not sure if there's confusion about the substance of the amendment. The amendment is specifically about an assessment on the health and safety impact. If there are practices that are revealed to have positive health impacts on the communities, on impacted and frontline communities, I do not dispute the inclusion of any positive health impacts. I believe that we should have information on things that may improve people's health, but of course, there is a large degree of concerning information about the potential health impacts, breathing impacts, cancer exposure.
That long string of words ultimately amounted to nothing, because the true goal of AOC's amendment was to inject identity politics into a report that was meant to focus on criticizing Biden's climate policy. In many ways, it perfectly illustrates the broader, progressive mindset shifting attention from practical issues to ideological posturing. Unsurprisingly, the amendment failed to pass since it offered nothing meaningful to the final report. Share your thoughts on this story in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep thinking critically.